Hello everyone, we're going to talk about the quadratic formula. The quadratic formula is a very valuable formula that's out here in mathematics, and basically a formula is, right here, a concise symbolic way of expressing a mathematical relationship between quantities. So this is our typical standard form quadratic equation, and I want to come up with a formula where I could say whatever A, B, and C are, I want to find out what's the x value that makes the statement true, right? So there's some kind of relationship in terms of A and B and C that I can express as a relationship between x to say that whatever these coefficients are, I can find out the x value. So it's a pretty powerful thing. And the way that we're going to figure that out is to use the completing the square method that we just learned about. Okay, so if we start off with this ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, and we want to get to what does x equal. So let's use this completing the square method that we just learned. So I want to be able to break it up into a perfect square, right? And I kind of want this just to be x squared, and then I'm going to split this in half and then have something here. So this perfect square that I want needs to have just an x squared here. So I'm going to divide everything by a just so this has a coefficient of 1. So I'm going to divide everything by a, and dividing 0 by a would just still be 0. And I get x squared plus b over a x plus c over a equals 0. Okay, now what I want to do is split this middle term in half. Remember that we split that middle term in half to be able to put it here and here. So this would be half of b over a. So actually half of b over a I can write as just b over 2a. Okay, so this will be a b over 2a x and a b over 2a x. And then my square looks like this. I have x and x. So this is x plus b over 2a. And this is x plus b over 2a. Okay, so what is this final term over here? B over 2a times b over 2a is b squared over 4a squared. Okay. So that's what I need here. So I'm going to move this to the other side, and I'm going to add a b squared over 4a squared to both sides. Okay, so this is x squared, b over a x. Then I'm going to add the b squared over 4a squared to both sides. And I'm going to subtract this from both sides, right? Minus c over a minus c over a. Okay, so this over here is this square, right? X squared plus 2 b over 2a's, right? Is b over 1a plus b squared over 4a squared. So this can be factored into x plus b over 2a quantity squared. And I'm going to find a common denominator here so I can kind of combine these terms and clean it up a little bit. So if I multiply the top and bottom by 4a, that would be a common denominator. So this is b squared minus, I'm going to put this in alphabetical order. I'm just going to switch the c over to the other side. So this is minus 4ac all over the common denominator of 4a squared. Okay, so now I'm ready to take the square root of both sides. So square root this and square root this. So I have x plus b over 2a, really the absolute value, but I'm just going to use the plus or minus. So plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 4a squared. And the square root of 4a squared would just be just 2a, right? So x plus b over 2a equals plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4ac over 2a. And then to solve for x, finally, I just subtract b over 2a from both sides. So I end up with this final formula of x is equal to negative b over 2a plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. And I even have a common denominator here, so sometimes you see it in this form. Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay, so you might see it in either of these forms. This is kind of the traditional way that you see the quadratic formula. So this is a pretty powerful formula because all you have to do is know what are my coefficients, a, b, and c, plug them in, and it will spit out two solutions, both the plus and the minus. But if this part under the square root is equal to 0, right, the square root of 0 is just 0, so then you only have one solution. And if the b squared minus 4ac is negative, right, you can't take the square root of a negative number, so if it's less than 0, you have no real solution. Okay, and the b squared minus 4ac is equal to 0, there's one solution. And if the b squared minus 4ac is positive, so greater than 0, you have two solutions. Okay, so that is a quadratic formula. We'll do one example about how to use it in the next video.